Hi guys, welcome back. We are doing postures today, and it's essential we understand the basics of the postures, which come time and time and time again. So each one is a lever. Imagine like each one is a little button on your keypad, and that button can, although it corresponds to a certain letter, let's say, if it's placed in a sequence, it has a completely different effect depending on how the sequence goes. But for us to be able to type, we need to first be able to get to that message, we need to be able to type, right? So we need to know the alphabet. And to know the alphabet is what we're going to do right now. Number one, when we sit in what we call the easy pose. Why? Because it's obviously pretty easy. That is easy pose. The legs are in front, so for beginners probably you will cross your ankles in front, and this is kind of perfectly okay. If you are already more opened in the hip area, you can bring both knees down and kind of open the hip. Very good trick, especially if you're a guy. It's very normal that you can sit cross-legged. That's not at all an issue, right? What you have is you have a bolster or a pillow behind you, and you bring it and you sit on top of it. But you sit literally on the end. And as you come forward, basically the pelvis tilts forward, and you see that the knees are actually on the floor. So what we want to have is that the pelvic floor, the pelvis itself, is higher up than our knees. And then you know that you have that complete circulation going instead of just stopping the circulation. And in addition, this is a very easy way of getting the spine straight, because what we don't want to do is compromise on the spine, and many people just do this, right? And this does nothing, because the spine is your core. You are like a tree, like a flower. If you break the stem of the flower, there is no energy going anywhere. You are not doing absolutely anything if your spine is not straight. Okay? I hope you remember this. Spine has to be absolutely immaculately straight. Don't ever slouch her, unless that's the exercise. These are not many. So, assuming you're in this position, this is a pretty comfy situation. So if you need to meditate for a long time, this will prevent from getting the legs asleep and getting these numb sensations, because we allow the fluid to go through. Okay? Now, if you are a pro, you move into the half lotus. And half lotus is you take your whichever leg you want and you place it on top of one of the thighs, and that's your half lotus. It's easy, it's comfortable, it locks the pelvic floor already, it kind of goes forward and it keeps you in place. Right? And then if you really want to, you can go into the full lotus, taking left leg on the right thigh and the other, and you just lock them, and that's the full lotus. Okay? It will require you to open the hips a bit if you're not used to this, so it's not necessary, it's not a must in this practice. If you can do it so that you can maybe do body drops, that's more advanced. But the reality is, you can just easily go by sitting whichever way you want. One thing I'll mention is, in some exercises we sit on our heels, which is you come onto the knees, you bring the heels together, and basically the heel goes right underneath the buttock. There's a reason for this, because we are stimulating the nerve endings there. This is known as the rock pose. Why? Because it helps digestion. So the saying goes, if you eat rocks, you will still digest them. Well, I'm not sure about that, but it does work with digestion. Because of the meridians and because of where the heels are, it stimulates the digestion quicker. So if you have eaten a very heavy meal, don't just go directly to bed. Just sit a little bit like this. If you're watching TV, reading your book, or talking to your partner, just hang on for a bit like this, because it will help you alleviate that pain. Another cool pose I want to show you is the celibate pose. So similar to this, but we're going to take the heels out and your bum is going to go on the floor. Now, not everybody can do this, granted, but if you can, that's awesome. So that's pretty much it. And one pose that we use to get the energy flowing, because Kundalini Yoga most of the time is quite static, so you sit. So to stir up the energy, we do something called frogs, and you see why. So you come up and you bring your heels as close as they can go. Then you squat down and you continue holding the heels together, right? You will stand onto your toes. So the whole body stands on toes and your fingertips and the heels are touching. And from here you're gonna inhale as you bend forward and the head goes down, and exhale as you come up and you look up so the head goes up. So inhale up, exhale down, head goes up, inhale down and exhale. And inhale up, hold the breath in, stretch, and exhale, slowly, slowly come up, one vertebra at a time, and relax down. And now my absolute favorite posture, stretch pose. I don't know anybody who actually loves this, but it is crucial. It works on the tummy, and the tummy is our second brain. Why? Because we have the 72,000 meridians. Remember, we're talking about it. Check the manual as well, read about it. It's the most essential area that you want to maintain strong, right? Not only because you look sexy, but also because it brings that power of change. So the navel point is the power, the place where you generate that energy, that fire, that willpower. And if you ever want to change anything in your life, you're gonna have to have a strong core. Okay? If you want to change something in your life, you're gonna have to have a strong core. So one of the best exercises for that is you lie down on your backs, and there's few variations here depending on your health and your stamina at this stage, right? So I don't need you to completely kill yourself, it's okay. I'll show you the most advanced and then we'll go into certain variations. So the reality is that you're gonna bring your legs up, your head up, and your arms, and you're gonna do breath of fire. If this is too much, what you can do is you can bring your hands underneath the buttock so they create that really nice cushion at the lower back. And then if you raise your legs up, gaze at the fingers and the toes and breath of fire. If this is too much, let's say you're on your menstrual cycle, you can bring your legs up like this. Alternatively, you can bring one, let it go, and the other, and let go. So you have certain variations, you can decide how you want to do this, but the reality is if you need to put more effort, then do it. Don't be lazy, because if you don't put anything in, you're not going to take anything out. Right? If you don't pay at the store, you're not going to get your products out of the grocery, and you're not going to have dinner. It's exactly the same concept. So if some postures are more challenging and you really hate them, well, maybe that's where you need to focus, because that is the part that probably requires more attention. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.